Today our topic is how to use Stoicism to overcome fear. Fear is something everyone feels. It is natural. Fear can stop us from doing things we want to do. It can hold us back from living a good life. But Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, can help us deal with fear. Stoicism teaches us how to control our emotions and focus on what we can control. It is not about ignoring fear, but about understanding it and not letting it control us. Let me explain how Stoicism can help you overcome fear. First, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. Many things in life are out of our control. For example, we cannot control the weather, what other people say or do, or even what happens to us sometimes. But we can control how we react to these things. This is a very important idea in Stoicism. When we feel fear, we should ask ourselves, is this thing I'm afraid of under my control? If it is not, then worrying about it will not change anything. Instead, we should focus on what we can control, like our thoughts, our actions, and our attitude. This shift in focus can help reduce fear because we stop wasting energy on things we cannot change. Second, Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot control. Life is full of uncertainty. Bad things can happen, and we cannot always prevent them. But Stoicism tells us that we can choose how we respond to these events. For example, imagine you are afraid of losing your job. This is a common fear. But instead of worrying about it, Stoicism teaches us to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. If you lose your job, you can accept it and focus on finding a new one. This does not mean you should not care. It means you should not let fear paralyze you. By accepting what you cannot control, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and fear. Third, Stoicism teaches us to practice negative visualization. This means imagining the worst-case scenario and thinking about how you would handle it. For example, if you are afraid of public speaking, imagine what would happen if you forgot your words or made a mistake. What is the worst that could happen? Maybe people would laugh, or maybe you would feel embarrassed. But would it really be the end of the world? Probably not. By imagining the worst, you realize that even if it happens, you can handle it. This reduces fear because you are prepared for it. Negative visualization helps you see that most of the things you fear are not as bad as you think. Fourth, Stoicism teaches us to focus on the present moment. Fear often comes from worrying about the future or regretting the past. But the present moment is the only thing we have. Stoicism teaches us to live in the now. When you feel fear, ask yourself, is there something I need to do right now? If the answer is no, then let go of the fear. If the answer is yes, then take action. For example, if you are afraid of failing an exam, instead of worrying, focus on studying. By concentrating on the present moment, you can take steps to reduce your fear instead of being overwhelmed by it. Fifth, Stoicism teaches us to see fear as an opportunity. Fear is not always bad. It can be a sign that something is important to us. For example, if you are afraid of losing someone you love, it shows how much you care about them. Stoicism teaches us to use fear as a motivation to do better. Instead of running away from fear, face it and see what you can learn from it. Fear can make us stronger if we use it in the right way. It can push us to grow and improve ourselves. By changing our perspective, we can turn fear into a tool for personal growth. Sixth, Stoicism teaches us to practice self-discipline. Fear often makes us want to avoid things that are difficult or uncomfortable. But Stoicism tells us that facing our fears is the only way to overcome them. This requires self-discipline. For example, if you are afraid of heights, you might avoid tall buildings or bridges. But if you want to overcome this fear, you need to face it. Start small, like standing on a balcony, and gradually work your way up. Self-discipline helps us take control of our actions and not let fear dictate what we do. Seventh, Stoicism teaches us to remember that fear is temporary. Nothing lasts forever, including fear. When you feel afraid, remind yourself that this feeling will pass. It might feel strong now, but it will not last. Stoicism teaches us to be patient and wait for difficult emotions to fade. This does not mean we should ignore our feelings, but we should not let them control us. By understanding that fear is temporary, we can stay calm and not let it overwhelm us. 8. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our values. Fear often makes us forget what is important to us. But Stoicism reminds us to stay true to our values. For example, if you value honesty, you might be afraid of telling the truth in a difficult situation. But Stoicism tells us that living according to our values is more important than avoiding fear. By focusing on what matters most, we can make decisions that align with our principles, even if they are scary. 9th, Stoicism teaches us to practice gratitude. Fear often comes from focusing on what we lack or what could go wrong. But Stoicism encourages us to appreciate what we have. When you feel afraid, take a moment to think about the good things in your life. For example, if you are afraid of losing your job, think about the skills you have, the people who support you, or the opportunities that might come your way. Gratitude helps us see that even in difficult times, there is still something to be thankful for. This positive mindset can reduce fear and help us stay strong. 10th, Stoicism teaches us to seek wisdom. Fear often comes from ignorance or misunderstanding. The more we know, the less we fear. Stoicism encourages us to learn and grow. For example, if you are afraid of flying, learn about how airplanes work and the safety measures in place. Knowledge can reduce fear because it helps us understand the situation better. By seeking wisdom, we can make better decisions and face our fears with confidence. In conclusion, Stoicism offers many tools to help us overcome fear. It teaches us to focus on what we can control, accept what we cannot, and use fear as an opportunity to grow. By practicing self-discipline, living in the present moment, and staying true to our values, we can reduce the power fear has over us. Stoicism does not promise to eliminate fear completely, but it gives us the strength to face it and not let it control our lives. Remember, fear is a natural part of life, but with Stoicism, we can learn to live with it and not let it hold us back. So the next time you feel afraid, try using these Stoic principles. Face your fear, focus on what you can control, and remember that you are stronger than you think. Life is full of challenges, but with Stoicism, you can overcome them and live a good life.